Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to a movie film commentary track. My name is Zaki Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zaki?
I'm so glad that you are celebrating my birthday with me in this manner.
Holy cow! I'm gonna admit this on air. I was so rushed this morning, I totally forgot, and I'm happy birthday, my friend.
Well, it's not here yet as far as you and I, but by the day this episode drops will in fact be my birthday.
That makes me feel a lot better.
So there you go.
I was like, it's today?
Well, I think we're at an age now where we're not particularly, we don't get upset at other people for forgetting our birthdays, I don't think. Do we? I don't know.
No.
I hope not.
No.
My wife just 2 days ago was like, what do you want to do for your birthday? I was like, nothing. That's what
I'm definitely reached that. I'm like, I want to go to my rib restaurant with my friends. Like, no big plans. I don't need to rent out anything. I'm gonna go get some ribs. They can come if they want.
Well, in anticipation of my birthday, I just want to watch The Mask of Zorro with my best pal.
Oh man, me too. I can't wait. This brought me back to when you had that Zorro button on your jacket.
Oh my God.
You remember that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, this transported me.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I was rewatching this last night in prep for this, and I've seen it a ton of times. But I was remembering this is from the PB era, the pre-Brian era of my life. So
yeah, 1 year, BPBH. I don't know.
So kind of an interesting time, but we have over the course of our various commentaries sort of worked our way through many of the retro superhero movies of the 1970s, which is like a weird, very specific DVD box set that we're slowly compiling. And this is one of the ones that was outstanding, and I use the word outstanding in both definitions of the word. So I had been really looking forward to getting to it one day, and this year is the 25th anniversary of this movie. So I was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to do that. And first of all, let's pause for a second and reflect on the fact that this movie is now 25 years old.
I know.
That is bananas.
I'll get into it more when we start talking, but it does feel from another era in the best way.
In the best way. Yeah. What I said to myself several times, they don't make them like this anymore while I was watching.
Yeah, I have really loved diving in, not only revisiting some of these 90s movies, but seeing ones I hadn't seen, because I'm realizing, this is what I'm sort of, I'm simpatico with these. I like the look and the style and the scale of these things. So these are great.
Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's take a short break, and then if people want to watch along with us, they can get queued up. We're gonna watch The Mask of Zorro. It is the 1998 film. There's only one cut, and let's let the sponsors do their thing, and then we'll reconvene right after this. And we are back. I'm ready to go. Brian, how about you?
I'm ready.
All right, so we will do the usual thing. We will hit play on 3. So I will go 1, 2, 3, and then play. And let's do it.
All right.
1, 2, 3, play.
It's only taken about 100 of these, but I think I'm getting pretty good at that. I remember I used to get sort of nervous, and then I would miss it. And they're peek behind the curtain. There's been a couple commentaries where I've been off by 5 seconds, and I'll hear you go, funny. Whoa, look out. And I'll go, oh no, we are way off. And then I'll see a car explode or something. So I'm very happy with where we're at now.
Or if I'm like, what do you think about what just happened just now, Brian? Go ahead. I'll give you the floor.
I will say no more. Yeah.
So that opening sequence right there, that's a little nod on the part of both Martin Campbell and John Calley, who was head of Sony at the time, but he had previously been head of MGM. Kind of a way of setting this up as like their own James Bond thing. You know, I think had the series continued on, every film would have started with that, with Zorro coming out and doing his little thing.
It's like, sort of like a stage. Like, it doesn't feel like you're in the world of the movie. You're like observing. Yeah, it's cool. It's just backlit. Zorro walks out, faces camera, and then puts a Z into the screen. Like, I was thinking last night, like, man, that is badass.
It is.
Totally works.
By the way, this right here, nice little piece of foreshadowing.
Yes.
I am convinced that is Antonio Banderas in that shot looking through those eye holes, right?
I thought that last night when I rewatched this. Yes. That doesn't look like a boy.
No, exactly. So
yeah.
Before we even get into the movie, I'm curious, what is your like history with Zorro?
You know, I was thinking this last night because I have always enjoyed this movie. I remember seeing it in the 90s and liking it. I think I've revisited it maybe once on DVD, thought it was great. Federica and I actually checked it out a couple months ago, maybe about over a year ago. And we were both like, man, we love this movie. And it's just weird how it's like you have to sort of seek it out or tell people or remind people about it, right? Like, this is a great 90s action film. And I'm but it never kind of got it. I think it probably did well. I guess it did. No, actually it did okay, right? It did okay. It had a budget.
It wasn't like a smash hit, but it wasn't an embarrassment either.
Yeah, it had a budget of $95 million. It made $95 million domestic. It made $250 million international. But it just feels like this should be up there with sort of those films. Like, actually, randomly this morning, I started thinking of Men in Black, where I was like, that's a movie that everybody knows, but like people don't like quote a lot, you know. And it's from the same era,
just a year
but
prior.
Everyone knows Men in Black. You can reference that, and everyone knows what you're talking about. But it doesn't come up a lot. And this is sort of like likewise. I feel like if you ask people, especially close to our age, they'd go, "Oh yeah, I remember. I like that, right?" But like, when's the last time they watched it? And it's just one of those movies for some reason. I don't know.
What I will say is it definitely stands up to rewatches. You know, this is a movie I end up revisiting fairly often, and I've yet to get tired of it. You know, I think there's something about sort of the classical construction, both in terms of the story and the filmmaking. I mean, this is, you know, Martin Campbell, who directed this, is just a workmanlike. By the way, a good way to set up your villain. Have him snorting cocaine right from the start. You're like, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. But I think you know, we talked previously through Casino Royale, and we were sort of like really admiring just Martin Campbell's craft, you know?
Yeah.
And I think he brings that here too.
I would even go beyond workman though, because there's people who are competent and you're like, that was a competent movie where I didn't think too much about the filmmaking, but I really enjoyed that story. But like, there's like a charge that he has, you know, and it isn't like a Michael Bay charge. Like, it isn't frenetic or anything, but like where he puts the camera, the way that he fills a frame, and like there's definitely an energy and a thoughtfulness and like a sizzle to what is not overtly flashy with what Martin Campbell does. And I remember when we did Casino Royale, I hadn't seen it in years, and I was like, I think this is the best action film of the 2000s so far, revisiting it. And so I was like, man, I really need to go back and rewatch Martin Campbell movies. And this one was no different. I was like, yeah, no, he's got a thing. He's got a little extra charge in what he's doing here, as classical as it appears. And I just love that.
I think it's a really good observation. Yeah. And it is worth mentioning, you know, this movie started its development in the early 90s. In this version, I should say, because I'm sure the rights holders, I'm sure, were trying to get something going even before that. But Steven Spielberg is filming Hook. And by all accounts, he was kind of miserable making it. and supposedly, you know, they're trying to get one of the sword fight scenes. You know, it's Robin Williams versus Dustin Hoffman, and just as Spielberg is watching this as a lark, he picks up his phone or he calls an assistant. He's like, "Hey, find out what the Zorro right situation is." And
wow,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Because this film is, of course, an Amblin joint. It's produced by Steven. It is a Steven Spielberg present, so maybe that's why we like it, Brian.
Yeah, yeah. Which is not overtly so, though. Whereas like Gremlins, all those things, maybe just because we know it, or Back to the Future, some people think those are Spielberg films. Like, I don't think anyone mistakes this for a Spielberg film, but it is a Spielberg joint for sure. He
shepherded it along. There were a lot of iterations of this where at one point Robert Rodriguez was attached. And it's very funny because he fell out over the budget, which he wanted $45 million, and Sony was like, not a penny above $42 million, and then it ended up costing twice what he wanted.
Yeah, right.
Which that does tend to happen. There are a lot of stories like that. But even before Rodriguez came on, there was a guy named Mikel Solomon who was originally signed on. He wanted Sean Connery to play Diego.
Right.
And he had Andy Garcia lined up for the Alejandro character.
You can see it.
I can absolutely see that. Yeah. And Connery fell away. Rodriguez comes on. He got Banderas involved. Rodriguez fell away. Banderas stayed on. And they went to Anthony Hopkins, who now obviously for most of these, not close-ups, it's Anthony Hopkins' a stunt double, but regardless, it was still fairly taxing for an actor of his age, and he did not want to do it. He turned it down, but because he was having back problems, and I guess while he was making the movie The Edge, which, have you seen The Edge, by the way?
I was gonna say, speaking of forgotten 90s films, yeah, actually I think that was the first DVD I ever watched.
Really?
Yeah, I was at someone's house and I think they gave it away, with like the DVD player. And I remember being like, wow, it's letterboxed, like it was kind of novel at the time.
But yeah, he got like back surgery and suddenly he's like Grandpa Joe in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's good. That's good.
And he's like, yeah, hey, bring it on. Let me do some Zorro. So now obviously, again, that's not really 60-year-old Anthony Hopkins there running around there, but you buy it though. I do think for this prologue sequence, you're not like, come on, Anthony Hopkins really like it works. I think
it was enough for me to like scrutinize every shot and be like, yeah, like they kind of found this perfect size for his double where it's like, it doesn't feel ridiculous, but it feels like, yeah, he could probably do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swinging with his whip across flagpoles.
Now, this movie, when you really think about it, is sort of like the first Legacy sequel, right? It's not explicitly a direct sequel to any previous iteration of Zorro. It's sort of it's a sequel to the gestalt of Zorro.
Sure.
Where if you watched, certainly the 1957 Disney television series starring Guy Williams, which is kind of the most prominent version, you could buy that this is the Batman beyond of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where here this is the last ride of that Zorro,
right?
And then we pick up however many years later. The timeline doesn't exactly work because this prologue is set in 1821. That the Disney series began in 1821, so you'd have to be like, oh, Zorro had a Christopher Nolan Batman career of like a year and a half, and then
right.
Whereas this is by implication, this is set maybe 10 or 15 years after his peak, Zorro's peak.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly for me, I grew up with the cartoon show. There was a Filmation animated series.
Wow, I have not seen that.
Yeah, in the early 80s, Filmation had like this 90-minute block on Saturday mornings where it was The Lone Ranger, Zorro, and Tarzan.
Man, yeah, no.
So, they used to show those in Saudi Arabia. So I think that's why I've always had an affinity for those characters.
See, it's funny because I feel I am aware of those characters, but I have no relationship to them. Tarzan, Lone Ranger, literally the ones you just mentioned, like Zorro, besides this movie, Lone Ranger, and Tarzan.
Yeah. That was my first exposure. And then only later did I watch, some of the earlier films and whatnot. But, I think unlike, say, Batman, right, where you had from 1939 until until the present, right? There is the comic books provide a through line, right? With Zorro, you never really had that because you had a series of novels. He was introduced by, this is interesting, the first Zorro novel, Curse of Capistrano, 1919 is when it
1919.
right.
Unbelievable.
Which that's a long time ago, but here's the thing, that's only 20 years before Batman.
I thought of that too, and sort of the whole secret identity thing, and Superman. I was like, wow, this person. I don't know what came before, but he was really a pioneer for like a template that people just took and ran with, right?
Yeah, I think really that's there's sort of a proud tradition of these types of characters, right? Because I would say probably Johnston McCulley, who created Zorro, was probably, I'm guessing, was inspired by the Scarlet Pimpernel from early 1900s. That's a book,
Wow.
But it's the same.
I think I only know that from Simpsons.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the same thing, right? He pretends to be a foppish, aristocrat, but he's secretly fighting against the French royalty. You know what I mean? It's the same.
Well, there you go. That's exactly what I was saying. Like, I bet there is this grand tradition that I'm not even aware of. That just goes all the way back to
Well, and I think that's what's cool, is that you can trace it, right? And it's not so much people ripping each other off. It's just like taking this thing and twisting it a little, and then you get this and you get this. And arguably Batman is sort of like the prime, like he's the synthesis of all of those, right? And there's a reason that Batman remained such a preeminent pop culture presence.
You're right.
Because it kind of it did sort of like the best version of it.
Totally.
Whereas,
I mean,
Zorro is like, it's like, oh yeah, I remember Zorro. It's like that,
Yeah, and I was gonna say what's nice too is it doesn't feel like they bump on one another. Like we're seeing the same story with just a different name to it. It's like they have so many things in common, but I can feel like they're different.
Yeah.
Different enough.
I definitely agree with that.
Although we just like a couple minutes ago, I mean, we literally watched Zorro effectively take his Batmobile, his horse, into his Bat cave. It's but it's
and then use the secret passage to return to Wayne Manor.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I do think it's interesting, right? Like this idea of like this is this legendary hero's last adventure. Like there's something very archetypal about that, and I think people do respond to it.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think for me watching this film, I remember being like, having had that exposure to Diego de la Vega, that, like, wow, that's really cool. Like this is his death, like for me, and I would assume different audiences plugged into this film differently, but I thought that was cool,
Yeah, totally. And there's just sort of going along with that, what you're saying, just sort of these things, the traditional sort of stuff that we respond to in stories. I mean, just this whole like revenge story that we're sort of getting now too, where it's like the death of his wife and taking his daughter, and his daughter doesn't know who he is. Like this stuff is just so primal. Like even I've seen this before, but last night I could feel it in my bones, I wanted him to just get his revenge,
Well, it's another film that I remember I was on you about watching was The Count of Monte Cristo from 2002.
Yep.
Right. And very, it kind of speaks to that same idea, righteous vengeance. And that's another film, which, by the way, you talk about workman-like direction.
Oh yeah.
Right. That was what's his name?
Oh, the guy who did all the Kevin Costner movies. Kevin Reynolds.
Thank you. Yeah. I was going to be like Waterworld guy, but
yeah.
Sure. I'm sure.
I remember that because I went to a high school with a guy named Kevin Reynolds. So that the name always stuck with me.
So we were talking about Hopkins. I mean, for a lot of these medium shots, I mean, that is Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, no, he looks good. I mean, they found a good way. I was noticing it later too when he's doing the training stuff to sort of make him look older, and he's got a little bit of a pooch, but like they found a good way to still make him look athletic, like capable.
Well, and this is Hopkins. He's about 60, right? So think about this. Anthony Hopkins here is 5 years older than Harrison Ford in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Huh. Wow.
5 years younger. Sorry, 5 years younger.
Yeah.
But like at the time, it's like, oh, he's so old. How can he play Zorro? Fine.
Right. I was say on an absolute tangent, unrelated to anything. Yeah, I watched the movie Roadhouse for the first time the other night.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And Sam Elliott, is in that, and he's all, gray stubble and long gray hair.
He's like 28 when he made that movie. Right?
Well, yeah, Patrick Swayze keeps calling him old man, and there's like a part, he's like, I'm old, son, and he's 44. 44.
Which guess how old I am as we are recording this. Huh?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, the grizzled mentor is 44. To be fair, though, he does look a little bit older in that movie.
That's really funny.
Anyway, blew my mind.
The other thought I had while watching this sequence is set, 20 years before the rest of the story is, that in this day and age, both Stuart Wilson here and Anthony Hopkins would be getting like a little CGI brush and paint.
Oh, sure.
Right. And I kind of like that. No, it's like, no, just give them like a dark colored wig.
Yeah.
And
totally.
we're like, yep, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, not to go all anti, CG and whatever with today. I think it's gotten a lot better. That people finding like the blend, you know what I mean? And which is the secret sauce. CGI is good, but it's the blend that makes it work or not.
Yeah.
And it was really fun though and refreshing to watch that opening sequence, which we sort of we didn't remark on a ton, but there's so many extras. Like the frame is just filled with people and costumes and dirt and like all these wide shots, and it just looks so epic in scope. It just really immerses you.
Yeah.
In the time and with these people, and how it must have feel to be there. I just really responded to all that.
I agree. Yeah. There's it's very grounded and sort of gritty,
Mm-hmm.
And what's weird is like, this felt like a throwback even back when it came out. Like I would definitely, you watch it now, you're like, they don't make them like this anymore, but it's like, they weren't really making them like this even back then.
That's good. I wonder if the Spielberg-ness of it all is what helped, or if this would have felt a little different, where you would have had a mechanical spider at the end or something, right?
Right.
Because it really is old-fashioned, this ending. It's just like a mine and people leaping across wooden planks, but I think it's as exciting as anything else, but I wonder if
and I think your comparison is an apt one, because Wild Wild West was just a year after this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, granted, I've not revisited that movie, since it came out, but I found the whole thing rather off-putting.
I've literally never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to say you should check it out, but I definitely was like, it was trying so hard to be contemporary that certainly now, 24 years later, it just feels very dated.
Right. Ironic.
Whereas, and I think whereas this one, it's imbued with a timeless aesthetic that helps it withstand the test of time.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So the character of Joaquin Murrieta, worth saying, he was a real life bandito.
Yeah,
he's sort of considered the real life Zorro.
Which is fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah, and Joaquin Murrieta Boulevard is about 2 streets down from where I live.
Oh, how funny.
So kind of interesting. So I think the idea of having the original Zorro pass his identity to the fictional brother of Joaquin Murrieta, there's some nice like meta commentary there,
Yeah.
The character Three Fingered Jack was also a real person, although I don't think he was contemporaneous with Joaquin Murrieta.
Yep. You just took words out of my mouth. Yeah, it's. I just thought that was fascinating. And it goes so far as that character, right, Captain Harry Love, having like the head in the jar and the three-finger Jack's hand, like that was real.
Isn't that crazy? Like that's something you're like, come on.
I know.
A little on the nose. Like I get that he's evil, but come on. It's like no. That's like in this history book, right?
Yeah. Like when I like I said, I watched this about a year ago, and rewatching it, I'd completely forgotten about that and was like, good Lord, in this otherwise sort of PG-ish movie. And then doing the research later to learn that was real. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. some real sickos throughout American history.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is fun, this whole merry trio of bandits.
Yeah, the charming rogues, you might say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's the whole idea of like you have to have your characters punching up, right? So they're fighting back against the system, and that's how you sympathize with them.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, also, throughout the 90s, Antonio Banderas had been a pretty consistent presence.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he was, he wasn't like a star. I don't know that he was putting butts in seats.
I literally wrote down
the risk. Sentence. Yeah.
No, sorry. I was going to say, I just wrote down the sentence. We really missed out on much more Antonio Banderas.
We really did. Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's fantastic in this. He's so charming. He's like a great action star, like a good romantic, part of a duo. Like
the emotional moments really work.
Yeah. Like
this
how
right
did we
here?
not get so many more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I think we missed out on at least one more Zorro movie. Certainly, the fact
for
that there was
sure.
7 years between the first one and the second one was a travesty, in my opinion.
Yeah. I've seen it, and I do not recall much about it, if I'm being honest.
The second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've said before about the second one. Like, I think it's fine. Like, it's another chance to hang out with Antonio Banderas as Zorro, but it's not in the same tier as this one for certain.
Why do you think that is? Just because I don't remember.
I really, I think it feels like. Oddly enough, Legend of Zorro feels like the legacy sequel to this one because it's so much later.
Right. Right.
I think we needed at least one more movie where it's just him as Zorro without like, oh, and I have a kid now and all this stuff. Like,
right.
And I believe it's PG, which made them probably dial it back a little bit in terms of content.
Sure.
And not to say that we needed more beheadings or heads in jars and things like that. But
three-fingered hands in jars.
Yeah. Maybe a little edge would have been maybe. But again, I will say I don't mind the second one. I think if you go in with the right mindset, there's worse ways to spend a couple hours. Is what I would say.
Sure, you're getting some more of a thing you like.
That's how I look at it. Yeah.
Sure.
Now I was thinking yesterday as I was watching how like Stuart Wilson goes to the prison where Diego is, and he's like, hey, which one of you is Zorro, right?
Yes.
And had he not gone there, Diego would not have snapped out of his sort of stupor,
right?
Right.
Yeah, so he kind of activated
his own
right.
So his own hubris led to his downfall.
Yeah, I love that.
In the best villain fashion,
Yeah. See, it's so fun. Again, I don't know what it is. I watched this not that long ago, but I'd kind of forgotten about that Spartacus moment. Which you always, I mean, it's always rousing,
Yeah.
Seeing everybody like, no, I am this person, like. Like all the little dogs in the Simpsons episode, a bunch of little Rory Calhouns standing up.
A bunch of little Rory Calhouns. Every one of them.
That's a little stretch, but that's all right.
So Stuart Wilson, he is the villain in Lethal Weapon 3. And
I was going with the theme. It's the one I remember the least.
I mean, but he's a he's sort of a chameleonic actor because he's been in a shit ton of stuff, and you're like, really, that was him?
Yeah, I'm looking him up now.
Like he's in The Rock, and
What? Who's he in The Rock?
Yeah, he's like during the around the table big generals scene or whatever. When Ed Harris calls in, he's like the guy who's actually an old friend of his, and he's trying to talk him down.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm on IMDb going through all the pictures. Yeah. Huh. Amazing.
Yeah, he had worked with Martin Campbell just a couple of years prior on a movie called No Escape, which I think I've mentioned to you before. That was from 1993 with
yeah, I didn't know that was Martin Campbell, but I remember you talking about it.
If you've not seen it, you've got like a solid entertainment waiting for you.
I'm going to watch it because I want more Martin Campbell.
Yeah, and that was the first time I ever saw a film that Campbell did. Although he did Dead Calm, I think, right?
Oh wow, I have seen that. I didn't know that was him.
Actually, let me just make sure. I stand corrected. He did not do Dead Calm. So he did something with Sam Neill, though. What am I? Riley, Ace of Spies. That's what he did with yeah. That's I connected him to Sam Neill somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Vertical Limit. I forgot about Vertical Limit.
Vertical Limit. That was one of the lesser films in his filmography, I would say.
It's like kind of forgettable, but I remember it being entertaining for 2 hours when I saw it in the 90s. Like it did the trick at the moment. It's
well crafted. He does the job. I think the movie itself is kind of whatever. I think Green Lantern, which we've talked about before.
Yes.
Which I'm sure he's shouldered some of the blame for. I don't know how you can blame that movie on him because when you watch that movie, it's so clearly not his style. You know what I mean? That you can see that he was probably boxed in by studio demands. But DC films, they've learned their lesson since then. So at least they don't interfere with filmmakers.
Yeah, right.
Filmmakers not named Christopher Nolan. They just
right.
But so Campbell does No Escape, and then on the strength of that, he gets GoldenEye, and then on the strength of GoldenEye, he gets Mask of Zorro. So he had kind of a run. And what's interesting is that the Bond people wanted Campbell to come back and do Tomorrow Never Dies,
right?
And he did Zorro instead, which, like, I think with the benefit of hindsight, that was a smart choice. Not because Tomorrow Never Dies turned out badly. I think it turned out fine, but it would have turned out the way it turned out regardless of who did it.
Yeah, this was smart because he's sort of stepping into another, like kicking off another potential franchise.
Yeah,
and I think it's better for it.
And I mean, if after GoldenEye, the whole Brosnan era passed, and then he comes back and he brings the curtain up on the next Bond era. Which at this point, I'm like, well, whatever the next thing looks like, you got to get Martin Campbell. Come on, he's like
he's your rabbit's foot. Yeah, yeah. But just going back a little ways here, I really love that whole little trick to get the cuff off his foot where he uses the gunpowder or whatever it was.
Yeah,
that's just so clever. I love that kind of stuff.
Well, and I like the idea that Zorro is more than his physicality; it's his cunning.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you can imagine a movie, and this is okay too. But like maybe he finds a pistol and he shoots it off, and the screen goes white for a flash, and it busts off, and it's like, well, how did he not shoot off his foot? But like this is just like true ingenuity. You know, it says a lot about him and how he operates.
So Zorro, of course, it means a fox, right?
Right.
And so that aspect of being sly and cunning is definitely something, like, unlike Batman, for example, something that was really woven into the characterization of Zorro when he has his costume on, is that he toys with his opponents, and we see a little bit of that in the prologue sequence. But I think as a way of distinguishing Zorro from some of these other mystery men of the night kind of thing, that's an important aspect.
Yeah. He not so much in shadows, but he's this acrobatic guy who's willing to sort of tap someone on the bottom before he punches them. Just
Yeah, he was doing the 1800s equivalent of dunking on people on Twitter.
That's so funny. Yeah, slashing a little Z into their pantaloons. And
yeah,
then,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of retweeting somebody and being like, "Can you check out this asshole?"
Right.
It's exactly the same, Brian. It's exactly.
I know, it's 1-to-1.
We're keeping Zorro's legacy alive, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I never thought of it that way.
So the character that Stuart Wilson plays, Don Montero, the name of the character is a play on his Zorro's antagonist in the Disney series, was Monasterio. And that goes to what I was saying before, where this isn't a sequel to a specific Zorro. It's a sequel to sort of the concept of Zorro.
Right.
And you're pulling from all these things that are kind of like what we remember, you know?
But it seems, where we've spoken about this before, when they adapt something and then they change all the core elements about the character, and you're like, well, why are you doing this at all? You're just pissing off the fan base, you know? And
that's right.
It's not even the thing. So this feels like thoughtful tweaks, right?
Yeah.
With respect to the lore and
I've said this before, I mean, the first Mission Impossible, which was just 2 years before this, it bugged the piss out of me that they turned the Jim Phelps character into a villain.
Right.
At this point, whatever we are, 30 years almost later, I've gotten over it. But yeah, definitely that sense of like, well, that's if you know that character at all, you will like that character. So why do that?
Right.
And so it's maintaining that balance of like, what do we preserve? What do we change?
Right. Have you ever read any of the novels, by the way?
I have not. They're the prose is a little too staid and old fashioned for me.
Yeah, I was kind of curious because I had a little stretch where I was reading some older books and I was kind of enjoying it. And I wondered if it would be interesting to read an adventure from over 100 years ago and see how it was written. And I saw the first one, The Curse of Capistrano, sold over 50 million copies. So
it was huge.
Yeah, I was tempted to check it out.
Well, and what's interesting, and it ran in serialized form initially. What's interesting is that what Macaulay does in that first Zorro story is that he has Zorro and Don Diego as two separate characters who are, developed throughout, and it's only at the end of the novel that we realize that they're the same.
Right. Interesting.
And the very first Batman story, which is called Case of the Chemical Syndicate, Bill Finger and Bob Kane did something very similar, where it's only at the very end of that story that you realize that, Batman and Bruce Wayne are the same guy. So
Clever.
Definitely, yeah. So and by the way, the textual homage to Zorro was made explicit by Frank Miller with Batman Year One in the 80s, where he said that the movie that the Waynes watched was 1940s The Mark of Zorro.
Right.
That's
when that was introduced?
Yeah, in the 80s, yeah.
Wow. See, that's what I know. So I didn't realize.
I know, we just sort of take it as a grant, as just, well, of course.
Yeah.
That came in later. Yeah, Frank Miller also introduced, in terms of Batman, the idea that Alfred has been the Wayne butler since Bruce's childhood. Because originally it was like after Batman and Robin are already a thing, Alfred shows up and he's like, "Hey, do you need a butler?" And it's hard to imagine that, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's such a mentor to him.
Now, I made the comparison to Batman Beyond. It's kind of interesting because that series, which really strenuously follows this template, not by design, obviously, just kind of worked out that way, that premiered about 6 months after this movie came out.
Oh, funny.
But it's the same idea. The original Batman is too old to be able to do it, so he takes on, man in the chair duties, so to speak.
Yeah. Passes on his knowledge.
Yeah. And again, I think that's an effective, and I think with Batman, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like Batman Beyond, which I don't know if you've seen it, but you're at least aware of it, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's that is explicitly a sequel to Batman the Animated Series. But the beauty of it is that you don't even need Batman the Animated Series to get Batman Beyond.
Right.
Because we all know the universe of Batman.
Man, sorry, just going back to sort of looking at the visuals here. It's like we're so used to this thing where they basically, for example, about what I'm about to say, the Killer of the Flower Moon or whatever, Killers of the Flower Moon. So I was in Oklahoma when they were filming that. Okay. And it was fascinating because we actually just walking around, we saw the old-timey street that they are utilizing a lot in the trailer. But it was basically a really, really short strip with a big green screen at the end of it. Right.
Interesting.
So like you have the buildings, you have the dirt road, but then when you watch the film, you shouldn't really be looking at that part of the screen. But if it keeps going back, it's sort of this watercolory looking old, extension of the city. But like looking at this here, where we're seeing out where they're sparring here, and we're seeing just out the door and these little awnings, these ratty looking awnings flapping in the wind. It's just so, like you said, I mean, I can feel the dirt in my teeth as I'm looking at these locations. It's just really immersive. It's so cool.
When the pupil is ready, the master will appear. I think, Brian, that's what you said to me when the first time we met.
Yeah.
Now, this right here, actually, he says, you did the same for me, and we get Banderas' look of recognition, and we cut away. Yeah. In the trailer, he says, Zorro? And I remember that from the trailer, and I like that they cut that.
Yeah, same.
Right? Because you don't need it, I mean, to me, these are like the little moments we don't like. I would, if not for the trailer, I wouldn't even know about that, right? But it's just this little thing where it's like, trust your audience; they can figure it out. We don't need to hear him say, "Wait, you're Zorro,"
Yep. That's also sort of like an old like screenwriting axiom, where it's basically like start your scene late and end it early.
Yep.
Yeah. The Batcave. It's kind of interesting what they've done a little bit to Anthony Hopkins' face too. I mean, they've definitely darkened it.
Yeah, so we need to talk about that. So this is a in the pre woke wilderness of 1998, where you have a Welshman playing a Spaniard and a Spaniard playing a Mexican.
Right. And Catherine Zeta-Jones too. She's Welsh also.
Oh, she's Welsh also. That's right. Catherine Zeta-Jones, by the way, same birthday as me.
Oh, wow. Well, happy birthday to you both.
That's right. So I timed it for the both of us. She's exactly 10 years older than me. How about that?
Ah, wow.
But no, that definitely, like, I don't have a problem with any of the casting in this movie. But definitely, you have to acknowledge that nowadays you would cast a Mexican actor to play a Mexican character.
Right.
Because they darkened Banderas' face as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. It's funny. Before I rewatched this last night in preparation, just flipping channels, the film High Fidelity came on. And I ended up watching the whole thing kind of unexpectedly, but I forgot that Catherine Zeta-Jones is in that. And she's very memorable, but it's not a huge role. And in my mind, I was like, oh, this must have been one of her early sort of things where she popped and then she got Zorro. But it's the other way around. Right. This movie came out before that film. I couldn't believe it. But this was her breakout, right? As far as
it really was. Like I knew who she was because she was in The Phantom 2 years before this.
Oh, right.
But nobody watched The Phantom, right?
I just thought because of you recently. Yeah.
I watched The Phantom twice in theaters, and that is 2 of the 8 tickets that movie sold, I think. Right. Yeah. So when this movie came out, because if you remember, the trailers were just, hey, here's her top falling off.
Yes. The whole him with the sword, zig, 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 and then her top.
Yeah, exactly. And you talk about a career being launched from a trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a year later, it was, remember, with Entrapment and her shot, like the shot of her butt, like up in the air. Remember going under the.
Yeah, 100%. I absolutely remember that. It's funny. I feel like that happens less and less now, but there are iconic things or lines or whatever that you just remember from trailers because we all were bombarded with them.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the whole zeitgeist is different now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Now everybody's got their Tic Tacs and their Wick Walks and your
yeah. The delivery system isn't as mainlined for all of us.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, it was sort of like we're all sitting here, we're all watching this thing together.
Mm-hmm. So this whole training thing, I mean, this reminds me of Batman Begins, which obviously came after this. But the whole Liam Neeson, slapping a sword out of his hand because you're not minding your surroundings or paying attention or whatever he says in this film. I love it.
And I distinctly remember watching this movie, and we've talked about this before, where that was kind of my beef with those 80s, 90s Batman films. Is like I wanted to see him become Batman, and I remember watching this sequence specifically and being like, I want that. Let's see Bruce Wayne training and things like that. So the fact that we got it, 7 years later.
And I think that's why I really, really loved Batman Begins, is because I don't know that I was just like accepted it. Like, yeah, it's Batman and this is his skill set and let's watch him, beat up a bunch of clowns. And it was so awesome to be like, oh, so that's what he did. He traversed the world, and he learned from everybody. And it was great. By the way, I didn't realize this, but this went through a lot of writers, and one of the first set was or maybe not a set, but the guy who wrote the Three Musketeers, which definitely was like a very like 1994 or whatever it was, kind of like a summer adventure film, which is funny because I can't imagine that movie doing super well, or at least as much as they would want these days. But that was definitely kind of that moment, wasn't it? Like Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen, going ah ha 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 with swords and jumping off of horses.
Yeah, that film I revisited it recently, like in the last couple of years, and it is really like they went into a lab and were like a little bit of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and a little bit of this, and and then as your test tube bubbles up, and you get Sting and who are the other Bryan Adams?
Yes, Bryan Adams.
Rod
Yes,
Stewart,
yes. And you have a little bit of that in this too. I forget who it is, but there's like the sort of
Mark
song.
Anthony.
Yes, right. The song at the end.
Well, and actually to that point, we are watching it on mute, so we're not hearing the music. But I want to call out the amazing music score that James Horner wrote for this. It is one of his very best scores ever, in my opinion.
Agreed. Actually, I didn't know who did the score when it started. And there was sort of this music that reminded me of Aliens a little bit. And I was like, oh, it's James Horner. Love it.
Yeah, this one, I remember that the score, back in those days, they used to release the score before, because the movie would come out on Friday, the score would come out on Tuesday. But this one, I think the score came out even earlier than that. So I bought it on tape from, Tower Records.
Wow. And
so I had just been listening to the music before I even saw the movie. And the Zorro theme that he created is so like, it's kind of like, oh, this is the definitive Zorro theme, but yeah, he wrote the song that Mark Anthony and Tina Arena sing at the end of this. And I have to imagine that was on the back of having done the same for Titanic,
Totally.
Which is very funny because if memory serves, Cameron was not on board with the Titanic song initially.
I can imagine that. I mean, we know what it became, but beforehand, he's a sharp guy. I'm sure he's like, I don't want to accidentally add any cheese to this thing that could already be like, I have one eye pointed to Cheeseville,
or something that'll date the movie,
Yeah, sure.
Kind of having this pop song, but I think on the back of that, he started doing that because he did the same thing with Bicentennial Man and various other things where there's always like a pop number at the end of the movie.
Bicentennial Man has a pop number at the end.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Wow.
And I believe it's by Celine Dion, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
And it's a good song, I should say.
No, it's just fascinating. I didn't know that.
You have not seen Bicentennial Man, if I remember.
That
right?
is one. That is on the list. I mean, like I want to. I just need to be in the right mood.
See that I'm cautiously gonna say that you will like that movie.
I have a feeling. It. Yeah, I can kind of tell. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Because I'm sure you remember we were bombarded with trailers for that movie for
Yeah,
like what
sure.
felt like forever, and those trailers really did a disservice to the film, which I think is very good.
Yeah. But going back, so real quick to the screenwriter. So that was Joel Gross, by the way, did Three Musketeers.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
what I was sort of fascinated was, I guess the finished script, amongst others, included Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio,
That's right.
right? Who
wrote Godzilla that same summer, by the way.
Holy cow! I only know like half of their career. I didn't realize that about Godzilla, but they did. To me, it's like, oh, Pirates of the Caribbean was when they came on my radar. But like Shrek,
Aladdin, they did.
I mean, these guys were hot, you know. Yeah.
They also did at least a version of. I mean, they're credited in Lone Ranger, which was 15 years after this, and that movie like very strenuously sticks to a very, very similar template of this movie. Beyond just being, a similar old-timey character, you've got a villain who pretends to be like this kind of aristocratic guy, but who's actually like seriously evil on the low. He's working with like a military guy who's kind of dicey. They're stealing precious metal from certain people. I mean, it's like, guys, because in this is gold, it's silver. I mean, it's like,
holy cow! I need to go back to that one because I remember you were a big fan of it, and I remember just sort of feeling like exhausted by it. But I remember loving the ending. It was really, really exciting. So I need to check that out.
I will go to my grave defending that movie. That may well be my last word on this earth, being like, "Oh, Ranger wasn't that bad."
And then your wife is the only one who actually hears the words, and your kids are like, "What did he say?" And she's just like, "He said he loves you very much." But one of your kids actually heard what you said and just sort of like keeps it to themselves.
No, but I think that going back to what we were saying earlier, I think that's why I do just have a soft spot for these old timey characters, and even the Legend of Tarzan, which came out a couple of years ago, which I wasn't as hot on, as these other ones, but it's still like, I do like it.
It's funny you say that because knowing that we share an affinity for this kind of style of film, like I every now and then I'll see that pop up somewhere, and I think I should check that out. I just get the feeling when it's like at 9 p.m. and I want something, on Friday, like I might kind of enjoy that. Enough. I'll enjoy it enough.
I think well, and that, the enough is enough.
Yeah. This scene, by the way, we should comment on what's happening.
It might be a good idea. It's like
I'm enjoying this. Don't get me wrong, but sort of as I was watching this, I will admit I watched this pretty late last night to sort of prepare for this, and I was thinking like if you wanted to trim this movie at all, like maybe this could have been pared down a little bit, and not to say that I
like 10%.
10 exactly, because not to say I'm not enjoying this action, and in a way, I mean this is his. The sort of Batman Begins, which is so unfair. This came first, but like his outing, right, as a Zorro figure, and so it is cool to see him figuring things out, owning people.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing, he's sort of stumbling his way through it, and yet he does have these preternatural skills.
Yes.
So even as he's sort of buffoonish in his own way, I do. It's funny because when he jumps off the railing there onto the chandelier, it always reminds me of Elaine in that Seinfeld episode with the puffy shirt. And
funny.
And I just remember because Jerry has to go on like the Today Show, and he's without realizing it, he's agreed to wear the puffy shirt, and Elaine is like, "You can't wear that. You look like you're gonna swing it on a chandelier."
That's so funny. And then this I mean,
it's very like slapstick,
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun.
Well, and I think we were talking about sort of the PG-13. Like this is a it's a pretty safe family movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not again, even the head in the jar. I don't think. I mean, I don't think most.
I feel like that's like the perfect amount of horror for a younger person. Right. Where it's like sort of like removed from reality to like you're not gonna encounter that hopefully in your life, but it's enough to make you go, oh wow, that's awful, and like that guy's awful. It's like slightly cartoonish. Exactly. Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, the whole the guy's spitting out his teeth and. And I love the way he's posed on the cannon.
That's great.
It's funny too, we talk about this sometimes. I think about this with Ferris Bueller especially, where like you have a character who is confident and there are degrees. Like if you push him a certain amount of degrees, he is just like a dick. You know what I mean? But if you you cast him right and you keep him in a certain sort of zone, you kind of enjoy him,
Right.
And it's funny, like I think with Banderas too, like if you cast this wrong, and if you push him too far and he's too cocky, well, then you're kind of not rooting for it. He's like, it's kind of, I don't know if I like this guy. But like Banderas is so perfect. Like you just love this guy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His cockiness, like I say, like that pose on the cannon, like now I shoot you, like that confident sort of thing. Like,
yeah, kind of Bugs Bunny, right? Like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Where right, like I mean, and people listening to me like, what the hell are you talking about? Like the reason Bugs Bunny works is he is kind of a dick, but he's a dick to the right people.
Right.
Right. And there's sort of that balance, right? It's always, there's the moment where Bugs Bunny's like, of course you realize this means war.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because he's put up with it.
Right.
And I think that in a dynamic like this, like you have to set up the people he's against as well. They're bad guys,
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to see Zorro clown on them,
Right.
And so it's carrying forward kind of what the original Zorro would do as well. Oh, this is great too, by the way, this whole where he's like fourth commandment, you kill somebody?
Right. No, no, I dishonored my dad.
He's like, how many sins could you have committed in 3 days? Come back later.
Yeah. This is a good, solid, memorable scene.
I agree.
And it's delightful, and he's not taking advantage of her necessarily. Like it could get too
right.
He pushes too hard. Like it's just perfectly charming. I feel like this was in the trailer too.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it was.
Yeah. So wait, I was reading somewhere that Raul Julia at some point was considered to be in this.
To play Montero, probably?
Don Diego.
To play Don Diego. Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know if the age would work out quite right, but I can picture him in this, like his personality and everything.
Well, and he died in 94.
Yeah. Oh, so that must have been that early sort of development
during those. Probably, I would guess like around the time that Connery dropped out.
Yeah, sure.
Right, because I remember when it was Connery and Andy Garcia, like that they were attached.
You remember that?
Because I was following the development of this movie, not laboriously, but just because, I would read like Wizard magazine and stuff like that, and they would be kind of updating like what was going on there. So I remember when it was Rodriguez, and when he came on, and when Banderas got attached, I remember being like, oh, Andy Garcia, I would have liked him. Like I remember, because if I'm being honest, like. Antonio Banderas really won me over with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I disliked him, but it was just like, oh yeah, it's Antonio Banderas, But I watched him in this, I was like, man, he's terrific,
Yeah, I mean, Desperado, he's kind of like the cool lone warrior type, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this, you get to see like the charm and the humor and all that.
That's right. So I can absolutely see Raul Julia as Don Diego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think, like I said, he passed well before production commenced. But again, you can imagine Sean Connery, like mid '90s Connery. I can totally see that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Actually, I'm looking at Antonio Banderas on IMDb, and I mean, he kind of came across my radar, I think, with Desperado, but I'm like, oh, he was in Philadelphia, with Tom
He's in
Hanks and
Philadelphia.
Denzel
That's right.
Washington.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
he's Tom Hanks's love interest.
Holy cow! See, I saw that back in the day, and I probably wasn't super aware of who he was.
Yeah. Because, well, he had been in some shitty movies during the '90s, right? I mean, Philadelphia is not one of them, but like, Too Much and Assassins, and and he was sort of omnipresent for a lot of not great movies.
Yeah, and he goes all the way back, according to IMDb, to like 1982.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
In Spanish-speaking worlds, but then
Oh, this is a funny bit right here, by the way. Trying to
the horse.
Trying to get the horse, and you realize like there's something universal about the jumping on the horse that moves ahead, and you land on the ground.
Yes, I know. It always works.
It's a pretty consistent gag.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's like, Blackie, Storm, Stupido.
Yeah. And earlier, I think it was the Anthony Hopkins portion at the opening, but when whoever, I guess the stunt person who's playing Zorro, leaps down from a balcony and lands on the saddle, I was like, ugh. Like,
right.
Is there any way is there any way to pull that off without just absolutely crushing yourself?
See, I was thinking of the horse. You're thinking of your balls, but either way, yeah.
Well, yes, the poor horse too, of course.
See, I kind of like that. Essentially, he went out without Diego's permission, and like he took on the mantle without, explicitly being given the go ahead. And so the way Diego reacts with almost contemptuousness, it's unexpected. You know what I mean? It's a cool, unexpected character beat.
I also thought with him returning to the Batcave, like, I was thinking of the writers, like, so what's Zorro doing when he returns? It's like, it's gotta be kind of cool and interesting and mysterious. I mean, he's not, just like scrolling websites, looking at stuff, like, like he's like, no, he's just, he's using his whip to snuff out candles. And he looks really awesome doing it. Like, that's just what he's doing at the game. So I was like, I would have never thought of that. It's brilliant. And it's perfect.
Yeah. Like how'd they do that? You figure?
I was wondering if he was really doing it. I mean, who knows? Movies, but like, maybe train him to do it, and then it was an impressive thing they got to catch on film. Like that whole thing that goes around now. I don't know if you see this in your algorithm, but I'm always getting this behind the scenes footage from Batman Returns of Michelle.
Oh, right, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, knocking the heads off those mannequins with her whip.
Hey, maybe. It's worth mentioning that Anthony Hopkins, like at this stage, it's very interesting because he had a hell of a run in the '90s, where I mean he'd been around since forever before, but like obviously Hannibal Lecter just put him into a whole other stratosphere, and really like he, there is no one Anthony Hopkins persona on screen, and I think that's a testament to his abilities as an actor, where you're not it's like you're going to get a good performance from Anthony Hopkins, but you're not getting the Anthony Hopkins character because there is none.
You're so right. I hadn't thought about that.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you go from Hannibal Lecter to Zorro. That's a pretty big spectrum right there,
Yeah. And from everything I've heard, on podcasts and actors who've worked with him, they're like, oh man, he like is such a joker. Like he jokes all the time. You're like, oh, that's so funny. Cause he's always, kind of like stoic, or at least like his accent sort of gives him like sort of this air of whatever. But, and then one of those famous stories is Bryan Cranston, right? Received a letter from Anthony Hopkins after Hopkins had watched Breaking Bad and was like, this is some of the best acting I've ever seen. And then wrote him a letter to tell him that.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Man, I don't know. I think I'd call it a career after getting that kind of a letter.
Yeah, right.
How do you top that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just a couple years after this, he reprised Lecter.
Right.
And, I mean, just seamlessly going from one type of character to another. It's extraordinary,
Yeah. I never saw that sequel, by the way. Red Dragon or whatever it is.
Well, Red Dragon is all right. That's the prequel.
Oh, and then there's one just called Hannibal, right?
Hannibal, yeah. So Hannibal came in 2000, and that's terrible in my opinion. It's Ridley Scott. I think it's like one of his worst movies he's ever done. But then, I think it was a year later, he did Red Dragon. Hopkins did Red Dragon. That's directed by Brett Ratner, unfortunately.
Right.
But I don't think this is the problem. It's Red Dragon is a remake of Manhunter, which is amazing.
Right.
But if you're looking for something more in the vein of Silence of the Lambs, then yeah, probably Red Dragon. So it's tough. I like it, but there's a couple asterisks attached to it. But actually, to that point, Red Dragon was, 11 years after Silence of the Lambs. And, they didn't do any de-aging or anything on Anthony Hopkins. They're just nope, you're playing him before Silence of the Lambs. And for the most part, you just roll with it.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, this scene, by the way, this reminds me of the Bruce Wayne. I mean, it's very different, because he's invented this persona, but sort of like he has his Alfred figure with him, and then he's going in pretending to be this person of stature.
Yeah, and certainly the way in which Alejandro talks about Zorro, it reminds me of Bruce in Batman Begins, where he's like a guy who dresses up like a bat, or whatever. Very dismissive. Now, what's interesting is that Diego takes on the name Bernardo, and in the Disney series, Diego's assistant, his Alfred, if you will, was a mute who pretended to be deaf mute because that way he could be in and around people with power and he hear them, but they would just think he's deaf.
Smart.
Yeah, and his name was Bernardo, so that's the name. That's the name that Diego adopts. So it's a little homage to his presumably deceased manservant.
I believe it's pronounced homage.
Oh.
Just kidding. Stupid. All right.
That reminds me of the interview where Kim Jong-un talks about Stalin and Franco is like, we call him Stallone.
I love that movie. We might be on an island with that one, but
I seriously, you know what's funny is I screened that in my cultural expression and media class, talk about how we tackle issues of geopolitics and race and things like that. And I will say that from in the 9 years since that movie came out, I think the audience has turned a little bit. I don't think the humor is working as well anymore, unfortunately.
It's been a while. But yeah, I kind of wonder if it now feels a little like it pushes too hard or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I may need to cycle that out of my get into that place, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I still think it's funny though.
Yeah.
So the role of Montero, kind of interesting. They originally cast Armand Assante, which you can totally see that.
Mm-hmm.
But they were looking at Sam Shepard, who later I think around that same time he was in like Hamlet and a couple other things, but it's hard to imagine Sam Shepard playing this role.
Mm-hmm.
But Lance Henriksen, Scott Glenn, who worked with Martin Campbell. What did Scott Glenn work with him on? Oh, on Vertical Limit. He was in Vertical Limit.
Oh wow, yeah.
Other people, but I actually think Stuart Wilson is really good. So I think they got the right guy.
I was thinking when he does that rose trick, he's holding out his hand and then he makes a rose appear. I was like, when did he put that in his hand? And then I was thinking of how embarrassing it would be to be caught putting it in your hand before you do the trick. It's like, yeah, never mind. Here. But of course, that would not happen to Zorro.
No, he's Zorro, damn it. So Matt Lesher, who plays Captain Love, first time I saw him was in this, but he's had like a pretty consistent career. Like when you look at his filmography, it's like, God damn, this guy has been in just a ton of stuff. He's a hey that guy.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because the first time I ever saw him was as like a douchebag dude bro on Saved by the Bell, the college years.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that might be like the first thing he ever did.
Wow. I'm like looking him up now just to refresh myself.
Yeah, he's in have you seen 13 hours? Is that what it's called?
13 hours.
13 hours. Yeah, the Benghazi movie. Michael Bay.
Krasinski.
John Krasinski. Have you seen that?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I remember much about it, but
if you're, it all centers around the ambassador being killed in this compound, right? That's under attack in Benghazi. So he plays the ambassador who ends up being killed. Chris, what's his name? He's a real person. Chris Stevens. Let me make sure I got the name right. I don't want to.
I have to say I enjoyed that punch from Hopkins right there to that guard. That was a good.
Yeah, it's good.
That was a good.
Just right out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no disguising it. It was like this shot from the side. You know what I mean? Usually you do it over the shoulder and you can sort of swipe in front of their face. But I was like, wow, that looked really good.
See this right here, or Banderas. He's like, oh, he's probably ugly and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is that the original, conception of the Diego, persona, which essentially Alejandro is doing right now, he was much more foppish and effete.
I was gonna say I was sort of waiting for him to have the cracks show a little bit, and he says something wrong, and he's pretty good at it here, blending in. So okay, so you're saying that was more of a Clark Kent persona for him?
Yeah, for Diego, yeah, kind of like, no violence, and
right.
and I think they were smart not to do that because I don't know that audiences would necessarily buy it.
Yeah. I like the pretending to be just cocky and arrogant and talk ill about Zorro and
right.
Yeah, for this at least it fits into whatever they're doing here
for this version. Yeah.
We haven't done the dance thing yet, right? Where he dances with her.
We're getting there. Yeah,
I'm kind of looking forward to watching this because I will admit, because I had watched it recently, I just wanted to refresh last night. I was doing other things while I had it on, and I just saw them apologizing for the way she was dancing, and I was like, well, what did I miss? I was like half watching, but I was like, I think I missed something.
It's the equivalent of like a lap dance, I guess, back in the day.
I guess, yeah. The lambada. Is this where the lambada was invented?
Perhaps.
Remember the lambada? That was a much bigger deal in the 90s.
It was the forbidden dance, right?
Yes. Yes. What? I mean, culture told us this was a thing, and I thought, when I get older, I'm gonna have to find the right woman, and we will lambada.
Boy, when I'm old enough, one day I'll tell you, I'm gonna watch a lot of R-rated movies in the theater and do the lambada.
Yeah, exactly.
That's on my list. That's on my adulting list.
I'm so sad, my lambada-less life. I don't know what would teen me think.
It's he'd be disappointed. He'd be perturbed at how you turned out, Brian.
Yeah, that was like, I was just listening to another podcast and they were talking about all the video boxes that made an impression on them. When you just walk past them in a store. There's like horrifying ones, like whatever that Peter Jackson movie is, with the girl with her mouth, and like, and lambada was one of them too. Where I was like, wow, so that's adult being an adult,
Well, I mean, there were 2 lambada movies the same year.
I remember that. Yeah. There's one for sure that I remember most.
Well, there was one. It was called lambada. One was called the Forbidden Dance.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think that's right. Let me just double check that. But yeah, it's definitely it was a moment. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Maybe we should do our next commentary.
Oh no.
We'll have to flip a coin, see which one we do.
So the Forbidden Dance, that's a Golan and Globus joint.
Okay, you're gonna have to remind me what that is.
Canon, the American
Oh,
Ninja
sure,
people.
Canon. I know, yeah.
And it was in competition with Lambada.
I see. Okay.
Although it starred Laura Elena Herring, so that's kind of interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Let's talk about Zorro while he's dancing.
Well, here we go. Now we're going for a dance that is more, as they say here, robust.
Which is so funny because what's funny too is that like this is meant to be like scandalous,
right?
And we cut to Diego like, yeah, that's right. Which is that's kind of a weird shot because that is his daughter, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's nice. Sorry, I'm captivated by the dance.
See, this is what I missed by looking down last night.
Yeah, it's robust, Brian.
You know what? I'm actually seeing it now because she's
getting into it.
She's getting into it. See, I'm telling you guys, you got to get off your phones when you're watching movies. You don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, don't be playing solitaire. And I'm talking to myself there.
Wait, so do you play solitaire on your phone?
I do.
Oh, that's so interesting. I don't know why that just feels so wholesome.
Yeah, I love me some solitaire. What can I say?
Yeah. Yes, very. This is steamy.
Well, I was actually thinking. First of all, they have great chemistry together.
They definitely do.
Right, and so that really helps. But the whole idea of sort of like kind of saucy, like you don't really get that in certainly superhero movies. And this, I know we've had similar conversations before, where like you don't need to show people screwing, but like showing like passion.
Yeah, I've seen that come up a lot in articles. I mean, we've talked about it, but it does come up a lot where the Marvel movies. Yeah, I mean, like to say sexless is just really blunt and maybe not even necessary, but like, yeah, passion, sort of romance. There's not a lot of that.
Well, and I think that was a critique people had of the second film, where to some extent Alejandro and Elena are kind of like the Magnificent Bickersons, and right, and I know Roger Ebert said something to the effect of like, why this? You know what I mean? Like. And I think there is sort of like a story explanation in the film, but I definitely, I get it,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, good job, dry humping my daughter.
Yeah. I just like this background actor. I saw her like fanning herself like, oh my.
Ooh.
Very good. I love it. The gentleman's quarters. It's like, now we will discuss business.
Right.
We have our brandy and cigars.
So the one of these guys who one of the Dons is played by an actor named Pedro Armendáriz, who is the son of the actor who played Kareem Bey in From Russia with Love, who he helps James Bond in Turkey. Now this is that scene that you have in all of these movies, where it's like, here's my evil plan, and it's funny because right here, this guy right here, the guy who stands up, that's Pedro Armendáriz, but he normally, I was actually surprised, he's like, it's not the, all right, you're crazy, I'm out of here, and then like he gets the unceremonious killing,
Yeah, that's so funny. You're right.
Right? I was half expecting that to happen, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you push the button and then the chair flips backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, ah!
I would say, like, because I've seen that in enough movies where it's like, why don't you just quietly excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, and run like hell?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I think you're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and you're in their space. You're in their house, like
because it's always like, well, why don't we talk about it? Why don't you just join me here in private? Don't join them in private.
It's so funny. It's funny. I'm remembering now. Last night I was staring at his hair. He's got kind of an Ace Ventura thing going on in this scene.
Who, Montero?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of got that
it's like,
cockatoo,
yep.
whatever sort of wave.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you ever like? I love IMDb trivia because I would say for the majority, I think it's pretty spot on. You know, it's things people have culled from commentaries and whatnot. But every now and then, you'll get that weird random fact that some person just added because they believe it, and it'll be like in a delicious homage to Ace Ventura. You know, Mondego has his hair to the exact whatever Ace Ventura specifications. And it's like usually there's like 0 out of 45 people like this. That's what I always find when I'm going through those.
Yeah, there's a couple of those things where sometimes it's just like, Zorro has 5 letters in it or whatever, and you're like,
yes, exactly.
It's like, okay, well, I don't know if that's trivia.
I love this reveal, by the way, of this mine. I mean, it looks like now. It looks like this could exist, is what I'm getting at. But it does feel big and like, wow, this crazy operation is being revealed. But it just feels like now it wouldn't feel big enough, so they would have to add all this sort of extra doodads to it to make it feel to compete with Marvel or something. But I just love that it's like, that looks completely plausible, also monstrous. It just completely fits the scale of this movie.
Well, and to pick up on the point you're making, like we're sitting here 25 years later, and we're like, this movie, there's just something timeless about it, and I think that tells you something that you don't need to go bigger.
No, you just need to dazzle, and dazzle doesn't always mean bigger.
That's right.
Like when they're having the fight, and Zorro is just like acrobating his way through that thing at the end. It's thrilling.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You just got to trust that. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, I mean, by point of comparison, we were referring to Lone Ranger earlier. And I think the third act is, I think it's legitimately quite thrilling,
Yes.
But it definitely feels like a dialed up version of this.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's where that priest ended up, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's interesting. It's just like one shot, like, they don't even call attention to it, but you're like, oh, yeah, there you go. That's him,
Yep. Yeah, I love this. Just the whole concept of this scene, right? I mean, you got like the businessmen touring the thing that they're going to invest in, but it's like horrifying, all this slavery going on and everything. Yeah. And then you've got our hero in the midst of it having to put on, play a role, but like in his mind, he's like, oh, I'm going to so bring this down, like,
yeah. Well, and the fact that they bring in Three Fingered Jack as a point of reference to the earlier, like it puts Alejandro in this position. I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking when he like kind of watches him die,
Crazy violent death too, like the way he flies back in the air. I was like, whoa.
Yep.
Very effective and horrifying.
And this film also introduced the word peckerwood to my vocabulary. So
I had to look. I looked it up because I remember I've heard it before, and I was like, what does that mean? And it's sort of like a racist term toward less affluent white people.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't the Marvin Berry and the Starlighters, don't they call one of the Biff's guys Peckerwood?
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it makes sense.
So I had heard it. So it existed in my in my brain pan somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, this actor who plays Three Fingered Jack, his name is L.Q. Jones. I don't know. I have this thing now where whenever I see like a older person in a movie that's old, I'm like, I wonder if they're still around. And he actually just died in 2022.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he was in his mid 90s when he died.
Wow!
But he's also in The Edge, which we were just talking about.
Maybe we should watch The Edge.
The Edge is a good movie.
I remember that. Sort of like, it's funny with the 90s. I mean, certain things have carried on, like The Rock and whatnot, but there were a lot of just sturdy thrillers or dramas that just quite haven't made their way, like or endured. But they're when you revisit them, they hold up.
Well, I mean, the fact that there was room for movies like that.
Yeah, like Ronin. or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Frankenheimer. Well, and The Edge. I mean, Lee Tamahori directing a David Mamet script starring Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, right? Like, I'm just listing that. I'm like, yeah, I want to watch it right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
This film, I mean, it's so interesting because the development process really was interminable, right? It stretched from 91 when Steven Spielberg that just struck his fancy to 98 when it's released, and there were plenty of times throughout that journey where TriStar was ready to just be like, God, can we just cut bait on this thing?
Right.
And it was literally there were these flukes of timing that kept the movie alive. And obviously big reason is they want to stay in the Steven Spielberg business, right?
Yep.
But they did the math, and it was like they realized it would be cheaper to just get the movie made than to separate themselves from it.
Wow.
Because the penalties and whatever would have been like $20 million.
Wow.
And it's like, it's better to just roll the dice on it. But it's interesting because it was greenlit by Mark Canton, who was head of Sony. He took over Sony after Goober and Peters had their run, like in the late 80s, early 90s. So it gets greenlit, and then Mark Canton gets fired, and then John Calley comes on, and he greenlit it again. And I'm guessing he could have put it into turnaround, but like, how do you turn around a movie that has Steven Spielberg producing it and is directed by the guy who just did GoldenEye?
Right.
And bear in mind, GoldenEye was greenlit under John Calley when he was at MGM, right? So in other words, it was this kind of luck that kept the thing plugging along.
Along those lines, I was seeing that it was originally set to be released on December 19th, 1997.
Yeah, well, they dodged a bullet. They dodged an iceberg, I should say. Right?
Exactly. I mean, that was like Titanic and nothing but Titanic for months.
For months.
I mean, that was it. Like, it didn't matter what you were not going to make a dent. And so can you imagine going through that whole process, almost a decade, and then if you would put it out just to be trounced, like that would have been so devastating. So then it got moved to July 1998, and like you said, they dodged an iceberg.
Yeah, and the same day Titanic came out, Tomorrow Never Dies came out. And it did well, right? That's famously Titanic and James Bond both did well. And going back to what I was saying, like Martin Campbell, I'm sure he would have done fine, but James Bond was going to do well.
Yes.
Right. And whereas, like, as soon as GoldenEye opened, he had like a box of scripts suddenly,
Right.
Even though he'd been kicking around for a while, but he saw something in Zorro, which I think is really interesting. And, that whatever that old school approach was, it was enough to make the film, relatively successful. But I think more interesting to me is that Antonio Banderas said, I'm not going to do a sequel unless Martin Campbell does it. And so they had to wait until he was available,
Interesting.
And he went straight from Zorro 2 to Casino Royale. That was the following year.
Oh, wow. I would not have put those so close together.
Yeah, it's so interesting because the like, I associate, by the time Zorro 2 came out and even Casino Royale, I had been married for a few years, and I was at like my adult stage of my life, quote unquote, because I still don't know if I'm fully in my adult stage. But like Zorro, the first film, summer of '98 is like a very specific experience for me in terms of movies and just what was going on in my life, because my brother had just gotten married, and I was like going to the theater every week,
Right.
And that was really the first time in my life I was doing that.
Yeah. Well, that kind of makes sense at that age, right? Where you kind of could.
I was at COD, and Rice Lake Square was a 3-minute drive,
College of DuPage, by the way, for
oh yes, sorry, again, a little inside baseball, but yeah. So it was from basically spring of '98 on. I'll just go watch a movie, and I watched U.S. Marshals and Man in the Iron Mask, and all the flotsam and jetsam that got destroyed by Titanic.
Right.
I will never forget. I was at College of DuPage. I was walking in the hall, and I passed Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a Friday in April, I think. And I was like, "Hey, do you want to go see Lost in Space sometime?" And he goes, "Why don't we go right now?" And so we ditched school and we went and watched Lost in Space.
That's so cool. See, that's what you remember that day. You know? Which is funny, by the way, because Lost in Space was another one of those DVDs they just like gave away to with a DVD player, which is funny because then that's around the same time as like The Edge and like with these sort of late 90s movies, you know, that they would just sort of try.
Because the technology, the DVD player had just been introduced like Christmas of '97.
Yeah.
So there was that moment where it was really being pushed hard, and it's like, oh, you get like 6 free movies.
It'd be like, analyze this.
One of which is definitely analyze this.
Yeah. Yep. Fools Rush In, the Matthew Perry movie.
I was about to say that one too.
Yeah. Oh, I had them all.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
So he actually drinks from the container holding his brother's head, which that nauseates me every single time.
Yeah. No, it's twisted enough that he has the head in a jar, but it's just like, how do we
he's like, glug glug. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I know.
Like, he's trying to show he's a badass, I guess, right? Like, you don't intimidate me, but I'm like, you could get like a disease. Like,
yeah, you almost want like an Austin Power type reaction, you know, which is like, woo, like, you think you're impressing me? That's disgusting. Like, I'm not impressed. Like,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what is wrong with you? Exactly. Real quick, just because you brought it up, I was kind of curious about 1998 movies, and we're talking like Blade, Ants, Saving Private Ryan, Rushmore, Wes Anderson's second movie, Armageddon, Rush Hour, The Negotiator, Out of Sight, Something About Mary. Crazy to sort of like go, oh, that was that moment.
Yeah, there is a book that is just pure nostalgia. It was released around that same time. I think maybe 2000 it was released. It's called The Gross by Peter Bart. And it's specifically about like the making of and the box office of movies during 1998.
Wow. Okay, because I know there's one on 1999 as well. That's
exactly.
Funny yeah.
So the 1999 one is relatively recent. This one was somewhat contemporaneous at the era, but check out the audiobook because it's just gonna take you back.
I think I might. I'm enjoying going back these days.
Yeah. Because it was like Lethal Weapon 4 was that summer, and like so many of these things that Blade was kind of Blade and Rush Hour came out roughly the same time, you know. So Catherine Zeta-Jones is stunning in this movie. I'm just like looking at her, right? It's like, really.
Yep. Like you meet her in a grocery store and you're like, no, you should be in Hollywood.
Right.
You know, like, like, I don't know where you grew up, but like, you don't belong here.
You don't belong here.
Like you
go.
Go.
You're pointing at the door. Go. As she turns back to look at you. No, go.
She's like, okay.
I really like this scene right here. The internal torment, and the sort of helplessness that Alejandro is feeling. Like Banderas really brings the vulnerability to it. He's like, how am I supposed to do what has to be done when all I feel is hate,
Yeah. Actually, like we didn't comment on them, but the scene between Hopkins and Zeta-Jones, where it's like kind of he's hinting at the fact that your dad may not be who you think he is. He may not be your dad at all, and she's like confused by it, and he so badly just wants to outright say it. And then likewise in the market, where she's talking with the woman who used to watch over her.
That's right. Well, I like that the film has very methodically laid out the breadcrumbs for her to make that connection. right? Because if he says it, it's not going to mean anything, right? But the fact that he never says it,
Yes.
right? I think that's what's really powerful, right?
Right. More tantalizing.
Yeah, right. Like
Story
because you know, even you know, the final piece where she's like, "What were the flowers?" or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he's never like, "Oh, you're my daughter and you were stolen from me." But, you know, because if somebody says that to you, you'd be like, "Oh, well, you're insane," obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is the whole Zorro introduction scene is so great. But what's nuts is we're an hour and a half into this movie.
Wow.
And this is the first time we see Banderas as Zorro, like fully.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That's
this
great.
is part of the long list of hero symbols burned into the ground.
Yes. Yeah. Big flaming. So you got, obviously many years later, The Dark Knight Rises, but it makes me think of The Crow also.
The Crow got there first, I think.
Yeah.
Daredevil did it. They did it in The Punisher. It's quite tropey.
Yeah.
Although what's funny is I look at that Z and it's so perfectly straight. I'm like, how did he get it so straight?
I don't know. Maybe he had that. Remember that tool where it was like blue. It was like a string with blue chalk all over it.
Right? Yeah.
Like your dad had it in the garage, and you're like, why do we have this?
It's so that if you have to create a flaming Z,
exactly,
you can do that.
If I ever did anything bad and I saw a flaming D in the backyard, I'd just like, Dad, I know what you did.
Because I'm picturing Anthony Hopkins with like a big thing of gasoline or something, and he's walking along pouring it. Well, how are you going to walk in a straight line? You know what I mean? Like, picture yourself doing that. Would it be perfectly straight?
I know he wouldn't have like those nice red plastic with a nozzle gas cans that we have today. Like, it'd probably be like some animal skin satchel. It'd be a mess.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really funny. And that's what I love actually about the bat in The Dark Knight Rises is it is kind of a mess. Like it doesn't, you squint and it looks like a bat, but it's so Nolan, right? And it's like, it'd probably be kind of a mess.
The bat signal itself is kind of like that, right?
Yes. I love that.
So I think it's interesting that with this Zorro, they made the choice of he's not going to have a mustache.
Yeah, I thought about that too because Zeta Jones has bumped into him times with mustache. Like it helps with the disguise, and because she could be like, "Wait a minute, that voice, the mustache," link an easier link.
Yeah, it's. It's not exactly Lois and Clark, but
sure.
But it differentiates. Like, there's the Alejandro Zorro, and he's different from the Diego Zorro.
I think right down to the costumes. I thought I read that the costume designer was saying that one plays the Spanish heritage and Alejandro's is the more Mexican
heritage. See this right here, very on brand for Zorro, where it's about humiliating.
Yes, it's fun, and yes, I like that. That's funny. Now,
the sword fighting in this film is just it's hypnotic. I just love watching it, and most of it is done in wide shots or medium shots.
Yep.
And you let the action just play, and it's just beautiful to watch, You
get to showcase the skill on display.
And I mean, you don't just get there. I mean, this is for a lot of this stuff. This is the actual actors doing it, and I mean, they're screen swords, but you can still get hurt with them,
Yeah. You're making me realize too, and look, this can work sometimes when you do those like close-up choppy things when you want to feel disoriented, but that was like a real style for a while in the early 2000s that I just hated from the jump. But in this, even when you're going to these medium shots, like look at that, it's like you got all three of them in frame. It's like you are never losing sight of what is actually happening. It's just... And it still feels really thrilling, It
does. Well, this here, the way it goes from up there to down, and then we get this great shot where it kind of like right here, where it kind of pulls out, and he's on the table and everything. Here, right here, look at this.
Yes,
look at that. That's just great.
That's just badass,
right?
Yeah, him flipping like that and
it's a dance. I mean, you really appreciate the choreography.
Yes.
And all the work that went into it. I mean, I don't know, man. There's just something about a great sword fight, you know?
I know. But think about it, like, we're not going into that shaky cam. It's too close and we just see clangs and we don't actually know what's happening. Like, we never once go to that. And it's like, this is really exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you. And it makes me think of, like, especially like martial arts films where there's something cool about when you're in like a medium and you are impressed because of like all the handwork or something going on in display. But then when they cut to that wide shot, just in my sort of neural whatever, I'm like, ooh, we're about to see something really nuts. Like, like they want us to take a step back because we're going to see him take on like 4 guys at once, you know, like, yeah. So that table shot reminded me of that.
Yeah. Now, I remember watching this movie opening night at the Marcus Cinema in Addison, right here when she peeks around the corner. This one really horny guy behind me was like, "Here it comes!" So that's one of my clear memories of this scene.
Isn't it funny how we remember that stuff? I mean, it was this like 25 years ago.
He had blue balls for an hour and 36 minutes, but
oh man. You know, there's an art to yelling out in a theater. I mean, I would say like 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. But like every now and then that person knows just what to say and it totally works.
Right. Well, I remember watching Blair Witch Project opening night, and after about 10 seconds of black, somebody in the front's like, "Sucked!" And everybody started applauding.
That happened with me recently with Don't Worry, Darling.
Same thing?
Yeah, it was kind of like let the air out of the room, and everyone kind of agreed. I remember Snakes on a Plane. There was like a buzz in the air. I think it was the night before, or opening night before everyone realized that it really wasn't actually good. And there are people running up and down. I'm not making this up. People running up and down the aisles with rubber snakes, and then there were trailers, and I don't know what it was, some Jason Statham thing. And someone just yelled, "Snakes on a Jason Statham." And like everybody, like the whole theater erupted in laughter. I mean, it was the right moment. It might not have worked another night, but I remember it.
What's so funny is like the air went out of that balloon like immediately. You know what I mean? Like the snakes on a plane.
Yes. Because it didn't live up. It wasn't dumb fun. It was just dumb.
That guy, like the snakes on a Jason Statham guy, and everybody laughs. Like that was his moment.
Yes.
That was his one moment.
It could not have happened any other day.
Right. And as soon as the movie ends, you have to imagine he's like Von Meter, who was like the world's preeminent JFK impersonator.
Right.
As soon as he realizes, I think my career is over.
Yep.
That's the snakes on a Jason Statham guy.
This fight is fantastic. I mean, it's actually, I mean, after we just watched a great action sequence, I mean, this is really exciting sword play. It's really sexy and fun and playful. Like they're doing a great job. Like she is doing a really great job, but she's also got these great expressions that she's doing. I mean, this is just like peak and what they're going for.
It's the seduction, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it's sort of family friendly. Well, somewhat family friendly. Seduction, right?
Yeah. It's, I don't know what the word is. Not innocent, but it is like fun seduction. It's not like it's not the lambada.
Now, again, she's just like standing there. Like, does she not know that that's going to happen?
Right. It'd actually be funny, see, if I was Zorro and then I did that, it would cut back to her and she'd have all these scratches all over her body. Yeah. And she'd be like, what the hell was that? What's the matter with you? I thought we were, like leading to something. I am so sorry. It's so funny and cartoonish too, the way her dress or whatever top just
it just perfectly falls down, and obviously they had it rigged in such a way.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. The look on her face, though. Look at that.
I know. She like the tone of this movie. They're both so good at that. The playfulness, like you say, like the level of seduction and passion and sexiness of this movie. Like they're nailing it. And I was just thinking this fight too. Like, what the?
Oh, yeah.
Like, walk into a bar and seeing her.
Basically, as soon as this scene ended, Michael Douglas picked up his phone and was like, "Get me her agent."
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're still together, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they like briefly separated, but as far as I know, they're still married. Yeah.
I saw them once. I worked at a production company that made a movie called The Sentinel.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Kiefer
that.
Sutherland,
Kiefer
Michael
Sutherland.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it was a cast and crew screening. I went there and I saw Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones together.
I mean, they are like, there's like a 25-year difference between them.
Holy cow. I didn't realize.
I think that's right. Yeah,
she is a lot younger than I realized.
Same.
I felt young when this movie came out, even though I wasn't that young, I guess. Like in my memory, I'm a lot younger.
The fact that she's only 10 years older than us, you mean?
Yeah. That's not something I would have guessed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, I remember when they first got together, there was a lot of jokes about like the age difference, right? And then my point is like now, I don't think you know what I mean? Like she's in her 50s, he's
right.
Close to 80s. That's fine. You know? This sequence is I love this too, where Zorro is like slowly working his way through the soldiers to get to his horse.
Yeah.
And it's staged so masterfully because it's sort of it's comedic, but you just marvel at his skill, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one shot where he is 1 foot on two horses.
Yeah.
And then he jumps over a log or a branch. Yeah, right here. It's coming up. It's crazy, you know?
I know. You wonder if stuntmen miss the opportunity to do things like this these days.
Well, I was thinking about that, right? Because, like, you know, I happened to be watching some of Matrix Reloaded the other day, and, you know, there's, like, these very obvious moments where it switches to digital stuntmen.
Sure.
And, you know, there's just something, I mean, in that movie, right? You can tell when it's a real person doing a fight scene and when it's, you know, digital trickery. And there are times, obviously, where, yeah, you got to have a digital person.
Yeah,
but stuff like this right here, look at that.
It's ridiculous.
You know?
I know. And then that move he did like 30 seconds ago where he just sort of slides off the side, uses the ground to propel himself, like push himself up, and he flips around backwards and sits backwards on the horse. Like, and we watch it. We're watching it happen, you know, like a wide shot. Like that is, someone can do that, and it's so cool they get to showcase that here, and we get to be thrilled by it.
Yep. I love that. He looks back, and it's just all riderless horses.
Yeah.
See right here, look at this. Boom, look at that. That's amazing. That's just a great stunt. It will be a great stunt forever.
Forever, yep.
You know?
Yeah, very cool. Your kids like this movie, I imagine?
Yeah. You know, one of my fondest memories of when they were younger, my older two, you know, we had just moved into my previous house that you remember, and you know, Hamza was 4 and Miku was like 2 and a half, something like that. And I had just gotten the DVD set of the Disney Zorro series starring Guy Williams, and that was their introduction to Zorro.
Mm-hmm.
And like every night we'd watch Zorro, and they'd be, you know, again, Hamza's 4, you know, like, oh, are we watching? Is it time for Zorro? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then we went through that whole series, and then we watched this.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, like
right.
It was like this escalation almost, you know?
Yep.
Really, I just have really fond memories of that, you know, like how much they loved Zorro.
That's so cool.
That series, by the way, is still really good. It's on Disney Plus now. They have the whole series on Disney.
Oh, really?
Plus. And it's terrific. You know, it's 1957, right? It lasted for 2 seasons, but this is when seasons were like 50 episodes. You know,
right.
So I think there's like 80 some episodes of that show.
Wow.
And it's terrific. It holds up. It has the right tone where it's not quite campy, but not quite deathly serious.
Mm-hmm.
And it works as a really great, like, yeah, you buy it. That's the thing that then leads into this.
Yeah.
This is great too. Here, Banderas' anger. I mean, it's just great, a great performance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're watching it on mute. You can see his emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
See the soundtrack. The final track or one of the last tracks says Diego's farewell.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, God damn it. Like,
yeah, it's like Qui-Gon's funeral.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I don't think Diego says farewell and he leaves, right?
Right.
So I was like, well, shit. So I'm watching and I'm like, okay, I know what this is leading up to now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't think about those things back in the day.
Right.
Sorry, I got distracted for a second. It's funny you say that, by the way. Sorry, I was stuck on the Zorro series being on Disney Plus, and I was like, man, that's kind of cool. People saying with physical media, and I do believe this to be mostly true, but with physical media kind of on the wane, you're like losing a lot of things that might not carry over to streaming services. But that makes me think of like everything streaming services can be. It's like, all right, so this whole series that maybe like your dad wants to revisit or you want to remember from when you were a kid, like, was it taking up like 5 gigs on a hard drive somewhere? It's like, why not have all that stuff stored somewhere and available through those channels?
I totally agree. And that's a series that I don't know that it's some new money source for Disney. Like, you know what I mean? I think they've tapped out. So it's just value added on the streaming service,
Right. So it's like if you're, you get it for your kids so they can watch Little Mermaid and all these things, but it's like something for everyone. It's like all the old or the Davy Crockett series or whatever it is that they used to have. It's kind of cool just to have just a resource that just has all that stuff available. Why not? That's the opportunity that stuff offers. Couldn't
agree more. Yeah. Yeah, that show which starred Guy Williams. I mean, he I don't know if you ever watched the original television series of Lost in Space.
Yes, I did.
He was Professor John Robinson on that show, right? He was the father in the family. So before that, he was most well known for Zorro. And he passed away in 1989.
Huh.
I think rather suddenly, but like had he lived, you could imagine him playing Diego in this film.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that's why I kind of like this flows pretty naturally out of that,
Right.
Yeah, supposedly Disney is developing like a new series, a Zorro series with, in the vein of the Guy Williams show, with Wilmer Valderrama.
Oh, interesting.
Playing Diego.
Yeah, as I was watching this, I thought, wow, I mean, this is such an opportunity. To speak, to use their terms, IP, like this is just an IP that's just sitting there.
Right.
Like, why not come out with a new Zorro movie? And then I was sort of like in conflict because I was like, well, it's not like this needs to be remade. Like you could show this to your family and it would absolutely hold up. But all that said, I mean, to make something new, like, yeah, I mean, the character's right there and the setting is, it's not Gotham City. It's different and unique. And
yeah, I read recently, and I don't know how far along this is, of some like a present day set thing called Zorro 2.0. About I'm not making this up. It's about a hacker who goes by the name Z0RR0. And I'm like, God, burn it with fire, please.
Wait, when was this?
This is like in development in the last year or so.
Dude, okay. I wasn't sure if I misheard you. That sounds like the most 1998 thing I've ever heard. like you missed it, dude. That's like Hackers, or like those movies.
Yeah, I'm just like, look, just do Zorro. I mean, it's all. What are you doing?
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Because I've thought about this. In fact, just in the last few months when I watched Puss in Boots, right, with
Yes,
I was like, do another Zorro with Banderas. Have Banderas pass it on to the next guy,
exactly. That's what they should
right?
do.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, he was
I think it'd be
so
great.
welcome presence in the last Indiana Jones, but I mean, he's like
Yeah, for the 5
4
minutes he's in
minutes.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a great idea.
I think so.
Wait, what would
I'm sure.
Hacker Zorro leave? What would his Z be?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I
Like a
mean?
virus.
Like, yeah, Yeah, exactly. I guess like Z would appear, and then like it'd be all this like cheesy,
It would be
crumbly.
it would be a spam email where you click on a link and then it gives you a virus on your computer.
Yeah, and then a bad pixelated skull appears and goes, you know, because this should only have existed in 1998.
Yeah, there's this brief moment where like hackers were like the sexy new thing.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller. Hey, wasn't that the movie Hackers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I rewatched it not
Yeah.
long ago.
I barely remember it. I'm sure the movie is fine.
It's like, it is what it is. It is what it is.
What it is. Okay.
I mean, I think it might work better as a nostalgia trip than something you watch for the first time now. But you're right. I mean, they try to make them like these ultimate punk rock star, sexy people, hackers.
Have Federico's brother watch it and get his.
Yes,
I want his reaction.
Actually, I would be so curious if it'd be like an eye roll or if it'd be like, oh, that's funny. Like watching something from the 60s. It's like ridiculous and looks like Austin Powers, but wasn't meant to be Austin Powers. Like,
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's crazy. I mean, this movie is, I think before we got on, we were like, oh, it's a little bit longer, but like, we're already here. I mean, we're at the third act now.
Yeah.
And it flew by, I thought,
Me too. Actually, I was a little nervous, like starting it, but, by the way, this plan is so good and devious.
I was thinking that exact thing this morning.
Yeah, I love it. He's like using one of Santa Anna's mines to take the gold and rebrand it so it looks like from somewhere else to buy his own land from him. Like it's great.
Well, and here's the great thing, Brian, is that like the stakes are not about stopping the plan, right? Because we know, because we live, 100+ years later, that, well, the plan doesn't succeed. It's not about that.
Right.
It's about saving the people.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's the genius of it, right? Because it's like, because that's like Wild Wild West, right? It's like, oh, we got to stop this giant spider from killing President Grant. All right, well, we know President Grant wasn't killed by a giant spider.
I did. It's funny. I didn't even know that's what the spider was doing. I have to watch this. Yeah.
But yes, too, a nice parallel to the opening scene of the movie.
Yep.
Where Zorro's dressed as a monk. But yeah, it's the mine is where the people are. We have to save the people. Those are stakes you can get your arm around.
Yep. And that it's fitting for this character, right? Because he's a man of the people.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The champion of the people.
I also think that too is interesting because Zorro, or original Zorro, is an aristocrat and sort of, he's looking out for the little guy, and I think they in updating the character, Alejandro is a regular guy. And that's I think again that connection to Joaquin Murrieta, I think that's a very deliberate choice to sort of acknowledge, tie in the lineage of this fictional character and this real life person and intertwine them with the new Zorro.
Right. Yeah, I like that. But it's funny because that is the, not similar to Batman, where Batman, many people don't know what to make of him. Oh, he's a vigilante, kind of a thing. But this, it's like when crowds, they want him to appear. I like that.
Yeah. And I mean, there is a key distinction, right? Like, there's obvious similarities between Batman and Zorro, but Batman is beating up criminals. Zorro is fighting the man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're so evil. I mean, yeah, they're in a minute here, right? They that's the plan, is to trap they need to destroy this mine, and they're going to
all witnesses
put all the workers, in it, and they're going to kill everybody and collapse it on itself. It's just so real world evil. So it's like, you just can't help but root for this guy to just shut it all down.
So Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, of course, wrote Pirates of the Caribbean just a couple years after this.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely feels like they have like a certain milieu they like to live within, which is like old-timey period dramas.
See, that's what's interesting, is when I saw that they wrote Shrek, I was surprised, because that feels so 2000, not parody, but like riffing on stuff like The Matrix and being sort of like Mad Magazine of fairy tales or whatever. It feels different. Yeah, like you said, I think of them and I think of like, they're pretty good with these sort of like pirates and kind of history, but mixing sort of a slightly fantastic element to all of it.
Yeah, I'm actually curious, like, because they got a screen credit for the 98 Godzilla, but I can't imagine that the version that was made has much to do with the one that they wrote, right?
I mean, it's very possible, right? I mean, these scripts, they go through so many people, and so many more people than you would ever know. I mean, when I was working at that production company on a film I worked on, on the poster it says maybe such and such and such and such. You're like, oh wow, it had 2 writers, or I had 4 writers. Wow. But like, if you look at the actual script, and whenever there's a new version, they add the name of someone who worked on it, and it's like 15 names.
Right.
And you have someone like Carrie Fisher, right? Carrie Fisher worked on a lot of movies, and you'd never know it because she was uncredited.
Right.
So it could be that maybe they came up with like a major story component that never went away.
That's right.
And then,
I just pulled up the page for the 98 Godzilla, and the screenplay is credited to Devlin and Emmerich. And then the story is Devlin and Emmerich and Elliott and Rossio. So I'm fairly certain, to your point, maybe certain aspects of Godzilla coming to shore or something like that, because that movie is pretty much a Demerick joint.
Sure. Yeah.
Now this right here, you have the shot. Look at that, where the director's like, okay, hold the sword. Like,
it's so perfect. Yeah,
but it's great.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. The sun glinting on it. That was a great stunt, by the way, with that water chute.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
I mean, I guess it's so old school. Like, if you write that down, you can imagine someone being like, yeah, but I mean, I don't know, like, what else is happening? Is that enough? And it's like, seeing them fall down that chute is one thing, and then when it cuts back and you see how far they're flying off that thing, you're like, whoa.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So that bit right there where he says, how would you like your remains displayed? I definitely remember not understanding that in the theater. Because of the sound design, and also obviously Banderas' accent. So it wasn't until
the closed caption.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. That's what he should have done. He should have had a jar filled with that formaldehyde already and been like, rattled it like, oh, I've been saving this for you. Yeah.
Look at this right here.
I remember. Yep.
So cool.
When I think of this movie, this is what I think of. Riding that shovel.
And the great thing too is, we were talking about the score earlier. I mean, this is a great example of a score that's really narrating the action.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to this on its own, you're able to plot all the beats.
Yeah, which I love.
Yeah.
That's what we grew up with.
Like, yeah, and it really we miss James Horner anyway, but we miss his approach, because it feels few and far between.
Boom. I'd said on a regular episode recently, I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theater. And I was with some friends, and before the movie started, they were just playing the soundtrack. And I started quoting the movie to the score. Like they were playing the music at the end when Luke is getting the hand tested by that medical droid, and then deep. And I was like, ow. And the person I was sitting next to was like, "What?" I was like, "No, that's when Luke gets poked with the thing," and he goes, "Ow." It's like, yeah, I love that. I mean, that's how you get to relive the movie, you know?
And then they just quietly move like a seat down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, I miss that. This is great. I mean, this is great. It could be enough to like try to save the people, but just this drama here is just so pulls on your heart.
Well, I mean, you know, it's such a simple thing, but like as soon as Elena is threatened, he just puts the sword down right away. Right?
Yes. And then the other guy puts the gun on her.
Exactly. He's like, "Oh, you think I would have killed her? Yeah, but you thought about it, or you imply, you know, you'd never do that to your own kid, you know."
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
So that actor Matt Lesher, he was also semi-regular on the Flash television series that just ended, the CW series. He was the Reverse Flash.
Oh, funny.
So in the universe of that show, the Reverse Flash is who killed Barry Allen's mom when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were wondering about that in the new film, just imagine Matt Lesher doing it. That's great. I like that. M for Marietta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's good too. I mean, you think about it, like everyone's got something to do here, right? Like,
yeah,
we even give Elena
mm-hmm.
Yep, go help the people.
The state, it's so funny because we look at this now from a 2023 perspective, and we're like, man, it's the finale, it's so contained, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, relatively small scale, but like, did I think that back then? I don't remember, you know, or was I like, oh, this is so bananas, you know?
Yeah, and I'd be willing to bet, again, if you're reading this on the page, you might think like, yeah, but what else? But like, if you just let a great filmmaker do this well, I would almost guarantee that an audience wouldn't be asking the same questions. They would just be caught up in, I want, Hopkins to be able to prove that he's the dad and to beat the guy who stole his daughter. And I want Banderas the guy who killed his brother. And I want her to get those, like,
yeah,
it all works in the right hands.
This whole, the way this fight wraps up. I mean, it's just, you're tracking with it, and and it's real stunt performers, or the real performers, and it's shot classically. It's edited in a linear fashion,
mm-hmm.
and it's just you enjoy watching it. You enjoy this whole, look at that, this right here. Look at that, perfect,
so good,
perfect culmination. Yeah,
and
then the way he yanks his mask off, it's just a great shot. That's the Antonio Banderas in the trailer.
Yes,
like Barry Pepper in The Lone Ranger looked exactly like Matt Letcher in this.
Yeah,
he's got like that uniform, long hair, beard. I mean, it's really funny because it's like, guys, did you just put tracing paper over your own script?
You're just like, I really hate those guys. people like that. Yeah. I always wonder too, I mean, when you have like this mine and it's falling apart and there's flames, there has to be some element of control while you're filming this. It's not like it's just falling apart and you're praying you capture it correctly, Yeah. So it's like, I always wonder about that.
Well, you're probably doing it like sequence by sequence. So
yeah, but just when you're working with fire and
I know it's
good.
That's a great death.
Yeah, it is, because it's like symbolic, really,
So in The Lone Ranger, Tom Wilkinson dies by having a whole thing of silver bars fall on top of him.
Are you kidding?
I'm not.
Wow, they really did take tracing paper.
Yeah, or not bars. I think it's like bricks, but whatever.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Funny. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, hello. Man, watching this with the sound off, I'm getting tense.
Now, I remember Sean being like, everybody should be dead. Like, based on the size of that explosion.
Sure.
I just thought it was so funny. He's like, they should all be dead. And I always think about that because I'm like, yeah, By the way,
cheat.
when the explosion happens, they borrowed a trick from Jaws where you hear like a wildcat roar.
Yeah. I meant to comment on that. That even happens at the beginning with the James Bond opening, and then the Z goes through. It's like it reminds me of Anchorman, when he's the Black Panther cologne, and there's like a
sure
when it opens. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like
so all of these, so all of these are ghosts who Zorro is.
That's hilarious.
So there's a deleted scene where after they walk out of this, I think it's after Diego dies, where they meet Santa Anna.
Oh,
and he's played by the guy who was like the villain in Clear and Present Danger. What's his name?
Interesting. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? He's like
I don't know his name.
The Latin Jack Ryan.
Yep.
And I think he's like, so what's going on? So I don't remember the scene, but I just remember that's a deleted scene.
Right.
Joaquim dos Santos, I think that's his name.
Okay.
I'm probably screwing that up.
I'm reading that Spielberg and Campbell decided that Don Diego dying with his daughter was too depressing. So 3 months after filming, they added the happy marriage infant son ending. Just to go out on a...
Interesting. So it would have gone to credits from here.
It feels weird. It feels like you'd need at least something else. But yeah. I don't know what that would be.
Joaquim de Almeida, by the way, that's the name of the actor. Whom I was thinking of. I think I know that this idea of Diego like kind of putting them together, that was like a Banderas idea.
It's good.
Like before he dies, he's blessing them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, it's sad, right? She never knew her dad, right? Like she only just realizes and he dies the same day. Like that's,
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a bummer place to end is what I'm saying,
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's a lot to process.
The thing is though, like the ending is such a perfect parallel to the beginning of the movie, right? Like how would you not end it this way?
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, exactly.
Like Banderas looks different enough. I believe that it was something they probably came back and did.
Sure.
But it's like, well, no, of course you end it like that,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, there's no way they just faded to black right after that, But I wonder what was there in its place.
But I like
Walking
that
away.
they end on this instead of like the triumphant Zorro shot or something,
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, that's just a little thing, and that's the interesting thing, right? Because I remember this movie coming out, and I definitely was like monitoring the box office. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in those days where, nowadays you're like, oh, Friday morning, we know how the movie is going to do for the weekend, like just based on the Thursday box office.
Yeah.
But back then you had to work for it a little bit. So like you'd check like Yahoo News Sunday evening or whatever,
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted this movie to do well because I was like perpetually backing the horses that never got out the stable, like the Phantom and the Rocketeer, etc. But I wouldn't say like when this movie ended, I wasn't like, oh man, I want a sequel.
Yeah.
Because you don't need it. You really don't. Like, I mean, I think Legend of Zorro is just fine, but if that movie never existed, that would have been fine too, because this movie really is a nice one and done.
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree. I mean, if I was proposed with one, it's like, hey, there's one coming, I'd be like, oh, cool. More of that thing I like. But you're right. Like, this is such a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah.
I guess I wonder if there's something to the fact that, I mean, now this is such a trope, but all these movies are setting up sequels. They're like diverting from the plot just so they can set up future installments in the first ones. And this doesn't have that. So they didn't give you that bated breath. You're just like feeling a satisfied exhale at the end.
Yeah. It's, well, like Batman Begins, right? There's like this sequel setup right at the end, but with the Joker card, right?
Yeah.
but the beauty of that movie is that if the last thing we ever got from that universe was I never said thank you and you'll never have to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I'm fine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that's what made that movie work. And I think the same thing with this, it's like, hey, there's other adventures of Zorro. Maybe we see them, maybe we don't, but we got something meaningful here.
Mm-hmm.
And John Escobar, by the way, I should say he was brought on to kind of the shooting draft was by him.
Mm.
And he had talked about how like he knew it was going to be something special before they even started filming, just because of his conversations with Martin Campbell and his approach to the movie.
Did you love hearing that? Like that the director wasn't just like, all right, cool, like I'll make this thing because this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
they had a passion for it, and I think that is on display here.
I think so. We were talking about box office earlier, right? And box office, obviously, it is a data point, but it's not an essential data point insofar as we in the audience, and unlike say Dune Part 1, where you're like, okay, well, I need this to do well because I want to see the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see it finished. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we got it. And 25 years later, we don't talk about The Mask of Zorro in terms of its box office. Not
right. Right.
It's a movie that, circling back to what we were saying at the start of our discussion, like pretty much anybody who's seen it appreciates it. I don't know anybody who dislikes The Mask of Zorro.
Yeah, I
don't
imagine.
Want to, frankly. I think they're a bad person if they.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine anyone sitting down watching this at ending and not enjoying it. I mean, maybe it's not gonna be their favorite movie, but I don't know what there is to not like about it. Frankly,
yeah,
pretty irresistible.
So at the start of discussion, you were talking about my pin, my Zorro pin that I had, and it was a Z logo as seen on the poster of this film, and I got that from Suncoast Video, which there's a stick pin in time, when I pre-ordered the VHS tape for this film.
Oh, okay.
And so I had that on my coat for the longest time. And then, at one point I at a job I worked at, my manager, she was like, oh, my son loves Zorro. And she's happened to mention it. And I was like, oh, and I gave her that pin, but I had that pin for the longest time.
That's so cool. I love that's where I was kind of curious where it came from.
Suncoast, there's that was a moment too. We used to go. Hey, that was like just part of whenever you went to the mall, you'd go to Suncoast.
That is for people like us. It's sort of like I'm trying to think of the equivalent, but almost like if you're like a car person and you get to go walk through like I don't know, like a car lot or something where all these cars are on display. And you just get to look around and look at things you like and look under the hood a little bit. Like, I mean, that was like that was for like movie people. It was like just nothing but VHS cassettes and movie posters and toys and whatnot. I mean, it was like a haven for people like us.
I miss Suncoast.
Me too. It was fun to have all that stuff tangibly in front of you that you could pick up and look at the back of a VHS box and look at the pictures. And it was still really special to own something, like I remember pre-ordering Jurassic Park and those sorts of things. And you'd go the day it came out and excitedly, head over and pick it up and get to take it home. That was a really exciting feeling.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, a couple of years after this movie came out, Sony sued the producers of this syndicated TV show called Queen of Swords, which was kind of like a female riff on Zorro.
Oh, interesting. Okay, but not Zorro, not in the Zorro world, but like Zorro and called the Queen of Swords.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially a female reboot of Zorro without using the Zorro terminology.
Interesting. Okay.
And so what's interesting is that because the first Zorro story had become public domain by then, Curse of Capistrano, 1919, the Sony lost the suit, right? And I think that's sort of the interesting thing is that Zorro is not a public domain character as far as I know.
I wonder how
there's
that
a
works.
company. Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? Because we're about to enter kind of the Wild West of this stuff now.
Yeah, because the things that we still think about, like Mickey Mouse and all those sorts of things, like we're approaching 100 years with those characters.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Superman is 1938, Batman is 1939. Some of these earliest things are about to enter public domain, and so it's gonna be a similar circumstance like this. Like I would think, I don't know this, that there's certain versions of Zorro that are still copywritten based on. I mean, it's not even like, like Disney has their Tarzan or whatever, because Tarzan is completely public domain. But Zorro is like, there's a company that owns Zorro still, Zorro Productions, and I don't know how that works. Like, what does their copyright include?
Yeah, and I wonder if I can't think of a specific example, but sometimes it's like, oh, well, like say Indiana Jones as an example. It's like, oh, well, we own the idea of him and his hat.
Right.
But it's like the whip is from some like updated version. And so you can do the whip, but you can't do the hat. It's gotta be a different hat. Or, it's like, it gets into real nitty gritty with these things sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm curious what that will mean. I hope that doesn't mean that hacker Zorro happens. I just assume not, because that sounds atrocious.
On the other hand, I would actually love to sit down for 90 minutes and talk about that with you. I think that would be
right
really
here.
fun.
Look at where we are on the screen. Zorro was created by Johnson as a trademark and copyright of Zorro Productions.
Huh? Yeah.
There
you go.
Yeah, I guess if you and I have an opportunity to talk through Zorro 2.0 or whatever they want to call it, I might be amenable to that.
And if it has a score by like the Chemical Brothers, and it has that real early 2000s vibe, maybe I can get into it. I don't
know. Wow, so here we are.
Yeah, this was great. I mean, I knew this was going to be fun, but I was also, sometimes when they're over 2 hours, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. But
but it's Amblin Entertainment, so
yep, we're in good hands.
We can expect a certain level. I really appreciate you making the time to do this. Like I said, this is one that when I knew the 25th anniversary was coming, I was like, oh, I want to try to get this one, and I think it's a perfect way to spend the lead up to my birthday. Anyway,
great. Then I've loved celebrating it.
Well, for those of you listening, if you have any thoughts or memories about watching The Mask of Zorro when it came out, or in the 25 years, in the quarter century since, please let us know. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And with that in mind, you can email us with your reactions at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're looking for me online, I'm all around. Just do a search for Zaki's Corner. And Brian is, he's doing stuff too.
I'm out there.
He's out there. He's like Darkman. He's just watching.
Wait, can I just before, because this is relevant to our discussion. So when I watch these films while we're discussing, I usually download them from your Vudu onto an iPad, right? And so it just ended, and all the movies that I have downloaded from your Vudu that I have intended to watch on a plane or something are appearing. And I have 3 movies. I have The Mask of Zorro, which I just watched. I have Blood Diamond. And I have Bicentennial Man.
Hey, all right.
So there we go. It's in the queue, literally in the queue here.
It is in the mix. That's something.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think. Oh, by the way, Brian, this year, in addition to being the 25th anniversary of The Mask of Zorro, if I'm not mistaken, it is the 35th anniversary of Short Circuit 2.
What?
So, yeah.
My beloved Short Circuit 2?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yep, 1988, that movie came out. So, hey, maybe you can get yourself a little present there.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. It's been a while. I should really sit down and rewatch that.
That actually could be a fun track. So
I think so.
Something
to
maybe consider tackling at some point.
Yeah, I'd be into that.
Well, while Brian ponders the possibilities of that commentary, I'll close us out for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will catch you next time.